Did you understand you're charged with the offense of robbery? That's a second-degree felony. Range of punishment is anywhere from 2 to 20 years in prison and up to a $10,000 fine.
You owe everyone who loves you an apology. Your mom, your brother, your sister. These are all people who are actively involved in your case and who care about you.
All right, so how much time do you think you deserve?
Yeah, I don't know what I deserve, but
I mean, sure you do.
I know what I would ask for.
I'm not asking you what you want. All right, court is calling 2023 CR 2137, State of Texas versus Roland Sanchez. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Andrew Harris-Edelman.
Defense.
Megan Enriquez for Royland Sanchez.
And are you Mr. Sanchez?
Yes, Your Honor.
Counsel, have you received all of the discovery?
We have, Your Honor.
And did you review it with your client?
Yes, we have.
Court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. Mr. Sanchez, did you review the document entitled True Bill of Indictment with your attorney?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
We do, Judge.
State, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented?
Defender takes an allegation and waiving the following language. And the defendant did use and exhibit the deadly weapon to wit a firearm.
No objection. That's our understanding of how the state will proceed.
All right. Mr. Sanchez, did you review the document entitled Court Admonishments and Defendant's Waivers and Affidavit of Admonitions with your attorney?
Yeah.
Did you understand it and sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand you're charged with the offense of robbery? That's a second-degree felony. Range of punishment is anywhere from 2 to 20 years in prison and up to a $10,000 fine.
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand if you have a plea with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea? If for any reason the court does not follow your plea and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call in the right to remain silent? Did you understand by entering this plea you were giving up those rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea in this case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses?
He has, Judge.
Do you believe he has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against him?
Yes, I believe he does.
Do you believe he's currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the offense?
I do, Your Honor.
Mr. Sanchez, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you to enter the plea?
No, Your Honor.
Anyone promised you anything other than the plea? Are you satisfied with the way you've been represented? Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, Your Honor.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to jury trial. Did you review the plea bargain page with your attorney? Did you understand it? According to the plea, the state is proceeding on the offense of robbery. Punishment is to be assessed at a cap of 8 years in the prison, and there are no applications. Did you understand that to be the plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense is at the plea?
Yes, Judge.
State is at the plea.
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you review the waiver of appeal paragraph with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you sign it in both places?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand by signing that you're waiving your right to appeal? The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand?
No.
Counsel, have there been any such motions?
Not during my representation.
Then to the offense as charged, well, to the lesser included offense of robbery, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest.
State any evidence.
Same in Exhibit 1 and attachments, Your Honor.
No objection.
Did you review the waiver and consent for stipulation of testimony and stipulations with your attorney?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand it and sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, Your Honor.
Again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call in the right to remain silent?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand that today the state will be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses' statements and police reports, but most importantly, there'll be no live testimony? Did you understand?
No.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence states exhibits 1 and attachments and review the same. All right, after reviewing states exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty, and the court will find you guilty. Would you like to proceed with sentencing?
Your Honor, I believe we requested to reset for a PSI.
Okay, that's going to be about 8 weeks.
Let me just speak with me. Okay, we changed that. We will proceed today and we'll just speak to the count on the record.
All right. So, Mr. Sanchez, are you waiving your right to a PSI?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, and are you asking to proceed with sentencing today?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, State, do you have any objections to proceeding with sentencing today? All right, of course, I do have a few questions. I note that there was a repeat offender enhancement allegation that was waived. Is there any other criminal history other than that offense?
There is, Your Honor. Your Honor, would you like to see it?
Yes, please. Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
May I approach?
Yes.
One thing that I'm not prepared with today, Your Honor, is that we did have an agreement that it would run concurrent with the 2-year sentence that he recently was adjudicated on an abating out of Harris County, and I do not have the cause number for that case today.
Well, what I'll do is I'll put in there that it's to run concurrent with the Harris County cause number. And then if you come in the next day with that, just let the clerks know what it is.
I'll do that. Thank you.
So I'll put concurrent with Harris County 2-year sentence.
That's correct. And we'd also be requesting from the court that he be given credit for any time that he spent in custody since the warrant was issued on this case that was in Harris County.
All right, with
And I'll
that,
get
you
those
need to
dates
get
as
the
well.
dates.
Yes.
All right, so let me just review the criminal history. And defense, did you have a chance to review the criminal history as well? While your attorney is reviewing that, sir, do you know which court you were out of in Harris County?
No, ma'am. I know when I got incarcerated, though.
Well, what's the charge in Harris County?
Evading arrest for the motor vehicles.
Okay. Whenever you're ready, counsel, just let me know.
I'm ready, Your Honor.
All right, you may proceed.
With the argument.
Yes, or if you have witnesses, if you would like to call him as a witness, you may.
Just very briefly, I'll call my client as a witness. Raise your right hand and let the judge swear you in.
All right. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
Gordon Sanchez.
All right, you may proceed.
Roland, you understand that now that we're proceeding with sentencing today, the judge has a decision to make on how long you're going to spend in TDC. You understand that, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
You understand that she's accepted your plea bargain, but she can sentence you between 2 and 8 years, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Are you taking responsibility for your action on that day, that convenience for appearance in front of you?
Yes, ma'am.
And when I played you the 911 call from the store clerk, was that good to hear?
Yes, ma'am.
That was good?
Oh, no,
for you
no,
to
no, no,
hear?
no, I like if I could hear good. No, no, it wasn't good.
No, you were shaken up. When I played it for you, I saw a lot of humility, and I told you about that, and that was good. That was not good for you to hear, right?
No, ma'am.
You did not fully appreciate how your actions that day affected and scared another person. In the moment, you didn't appreciate it. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
But now I pointed out and showed you some evidence of how it made her feel that day. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you feel bad for that?
Most definitely.
Okay, and although she's not here in the courtroom today, the state has been in contact with her. She wasn't able to pick you out of the lineup, but she does remember feeling scared in that moment. So if she's watching this or has a chance to watch us at a later date, you can look right here in this camera and apologize to that store clerk.
Yes. You mind if I can apologize, Your Honor?
I mean, you're under oath, whatever you would like to say.
I mean, if she's listening, I would like to say I apologize. There's no justification on why it happened, but it happened, you know. And I apologize. I'm taking responsibility on it. I just want to move forward. I understand that I'm going to have to do some time incarcerated to do that, and I'm willing to accept that, you know.
Are you sorry for your actions that day?
Yes, ma'am.
And is there anything else that you would like Judge Boyd to know from your perspective before she makes her decisions? And I know that I realize that you're not prepared to do this today, but just off the cuff.
I mean, I apologize for all of us being here today for the situation. You know, all of you did the right things. And not put anybody in that type of predicament, we would be here. I'm not incompetent, I know what I'm doing, but I do realize that my actions weren't working. I got kids, like you said, everybody pulls the kids' cards. I'm not saying that's why I gotta go home. No, I just want to be able to move on and be a better man and move forward.
So what are your motivations to not be before this judge after your time in PBC or any other judge anywhere?
I'm definitely not going to be doing the same lifestyle I was doing. That's for sure. I was working before incarcerated too. I plan to continue to keep on working when I come home. Whenever I do get released, I do have a steady job that I go home to.
What is that job?
Construction.
What type of
But
construction?
beneath the bar, it's living patios.
Is that in Houston or San Antonio? Okay. So when your plan, when you're released from TDC, whenever that may be, is to live in Houston,
There's none.
and that's where your mom lives,
There's none.
and to work and to provide for your children, and to never commit any type of criminal offense again for the rest of your life,
There's none.
and be committed to your family. So that brings me to another point. Also, I actually do know that your mom is watching from Houston. So I do think that you owe everyone who loves you an apology. Your mom, your brother, your sister, these are all people who are actively involved in your case and who care about you. And that I have personally talked to. So I also think you probably owe them an apology.
You don't mind, I want to apologize to my family. Putting my brother in a predicament to where he has to stop what he's doing with his family to do with my stuff. My sister to constantly check up on her. I mean, my attorney to make sure what's going on. And for my mom, because she is sick. And I keep putting her through some stress, you know. And we had this talk literally just yesterday that this can't happen anymore. You know, at one point it has to stop.
Why don't you make them a promise under oath on the record to your family?
Yeah. I promise not to commit any other felonies, misdemeanors, or any kind of illegal activities.
All right, any questions?
Mr. Sanchez,
Listen,
you were describing, well, you weren't describing, you mentioned the life that you've been living. Could you briefly describe what life you've been living that led you to this point?
yes. It wasn't an honest life. As far as my childhood or like growing up, that what led me to?
It was your description, so you describe it however you feel is appropriate.
Just wasn't honest living.
Was there a point where you were living honestly?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yes, sir.
What changed that led you to go from living honestly to living dishonestly?
Problems that happen in life. I mean, like there's no big enough problem in the world to be going out there and creating problems, but just slip-ups.
What were those slip-ups?
Separating, not having my kids around for a moment, fighting custody of the kids, dealing with my brother's death, still things like that. Ended up reverting me to the life that I was already living when I came home on parole. When I came home on parole, I was going to Barber College. I was working. I did that for a good year. Yeah. It's like a good year and a half before I got to space.
So you were keeping on the straight and narrow for a year to a year and a half. Did something happen to take you off the straight and narrow?
Yeah. Dealing with the custody of my kids, you know, things like that.
For this specific incident, what was your thought process, if you can describe it? What led you to believe that this offense was a good idea? And it's possible that you can articulate it, and if you can't articulate it,
Yeah,
you can't find the words, that's
Yeah, I
okay.
can't. I don't know how to explain it.
Thank you. I don't have any more questions, Your Honor.
Any further questions?
Briefly, just to clarify, when did your brother pass away?
2022.
So the timeline is clear about when that happened and how that may have affected you.
All right. I have a few questions if that's no objections. So I don't understand how your brother passing away equals to you committing a robbery. So explain. Because according to,
The robbery didn't get committed because my brother passed away. The robbery got committed because I was under the influence. Not saying I wasn't 100% impaired to where I just didn't know what I was doing, but I wasn't in the right state of mind.
all right, so how much time do you think you deserve? According to this, it's a cap of 8 years.
Yeah, I don't know what I deserve, but
I mean, sure you do.
I know what I would ask for.
No. What do you deserve? For example, some people, like your punishment is a cap of 8, which means I can sentence you anywhere from 2 to 8 years. Some people will say, well, I really want 2, or I really want probation. That's what I want. I'm not asking you what you want. I'm asking you, what do you deserve for the actions you took involving the complainant in this case? Somebody who was working at their job, doing the right thing, right?
It's not.
And sometimes I have to tell people, for example, let's say it's your mom, your brother, just trying to do their job. They don't like the job they're working. This isn't where they saw their life would be, but they're still saying, you know what, I'm making an honest living. This wasn't my dream job, but I'm making an honest living. And then let's say that happens and John Doe walks in and does what you did. What would you be asking for punishment for them? And this is where honesty comes in with yourself.
If that man signed a cap 8, I would ask for the cap 8. The whole 8.
Yeah. So what do you deserve? Because a lot of times people will, I want to say, not really be concerned because the person who is the victim or the complainant, it's like, it's not my relative. So they have no attachment to that person.
Just not.
Because when you see people who do awful things sometimes, right? They have no attachment to that person. Maybe they don't see that person as a human being, or maybe they say, you know what? It's not their money. So why won't they just give me the money when I walk in and say, hey, give me the money? You understand? So what do you think you deserve knowing that you've been to prison before? Which prison, sometimes rehabilitation doesn't occur unless you really want to be rehabilitated. Because I already know how prison is. Not that I've been there, but from what I've been told, from what I've seen in documentaries, from people who've been to prison, and it turns out they didn't commit the crime, they're innocent. They're like, no, prison, you're on 24-hour watch because you got to watch your back because people are not in there to just let you do your time in peace, right?
Just not.
So you did your time in prison. How much time did you do in prison?
I'm finishing up the 7.
So 7. And is that 7 on this repeater count, the drug case?
Then this class.
So 7 for that. And had you ever been to prison other than that one time?
No.
So why didn't you learn anything from being in prison that maybe you don't want to go back there again?
I did learn.
But it didn't stop you from committing a new offense. Why didn't it stop you from committing a new offense?
I wasn't thinking at the moment. I know it's not the right answer. I know.
No, I mean, sometimes people want fast money. And I understand when people want fast money, but then we end up here because fast money is not good money. I don't know how much money you made off with. It seems like it was $20. And you know, $20, that means if you were able to take the full $20, that it doesn't appear like he did take the full $20. You know, every year you do the math. And you have to ask yourself, was that little amount of money worth me going to prison over?
Oh, no.
All right. Is there anything else?
Yes, Your Honor. Actually, can I ask a few follow-up questions
Sure.
of Mr. Sanchez? Mr. Sanchez, would you agree with me that the Royland Sanchez that walked into the convenience store that day deserves 8 years in TDC? Would you agree with that statement?
Yes.
Would you agree with me that the person that walked in to the convenience store that day is not the person that is standing in front of Judge Boyd right now?
Yes, ma'am.
Judge Boyd brought up a really good point about feeling detached and not realizing how your actions affect another person. Is it fair to say that before fully reviewing all of this discovery in our meetings, you didn't fully appreciate how your actions affected another person? Is that fair to say?
No, ma'am.
And can you tell the judge that in reviewing that, you were humbled? Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you feel really bad about how you made that person feel? Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you didn't realize that until you saw a video and saw 911 calls. So you are now a different person. You now have more humility, and you now have more reason to change your lifestyle when you're released from TDC as you stand here in front of Judge Boyd today.
Yes, ma'am.
And also as how you've now had time to see how your actions not only affected that scorecard, but affected your family, has caused a bit of a rift between your mom and your brother. Your like you said, your brother taking time away from his family to help with your issues, and your sister and your mom, who all have their own lives, but your actions have caused this stress on people that you love and somebody that you don't know. Is that reason and motivation to change your life when released from TDC?
Yes, ma'am. Most
Your
definitely.
last trip to TDC was for drugs. So in that case, you were just harming yourself. In this case, you've affected other people. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And so now we're not asking Judge Boyd to give you what you deserve, because we've already admitted that it's probably, but now we're asking for mercy from the person that stands before her today and to sentence you on the lower end of the cap. Correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So it's not what you deserve. We are begging her for mercy.
Right.
All right. Any other questions?
When you're on,
Yes.
you're not the person that you were when you committed this offense.
Most definitely, ma'am.
My question is, who do you intend to be in the future?
A better person than I am today. Every step, every day, I try to make a difference. But it's something small, helping somebody out, helping somebody. Over here, we got GD classes. I got my GD, so I do little things, try to help out and be a better person. No, one little thing's not gonna change me. I know all the little things I'm doing as I move forward with. So I plan on just continue to keep doing what I'm doing and be a better person. And all around asking.
I hope you stick to it.
Listen,
All right. So you're asking for less than 8, correct?
That's correct.
What specifically are you asking for?
2, concurrent with the 2 that he was sentenced to in his county.
All right. In state, I assume you're asking for 8.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So here's the thing. I internalize everything that everyone is saying, right? So I've understood your counsel's argument. I understand that she wants 8 years. I'm sorry, she wants 2. See, I'm seeing if everybody's awake. I'm understanding that she wants 2 and the state wants 8. I do understand that you have, hopefully, I think, internalized the wrong that you've done and what you put somebody else through. If I were to sentence you to 8 years, that means that each year is worth the $2.50, because if you divide the 20 into the 8, it's $2.50 per year. And you have to ask yourself, was my 8 years really worth $2.50 per year? But I'm taking in consideration the fact that you entered a plea, and you entered a plea fairly quickly. But I'm not going to give you the 2 years because I don't feel as though 2 years is justice, right? It is appropriate in this case, I should say. I'm not going to give you the 8 years. I'm going to sentence you to 7 years in the prison. I'm going to give you credit for any time served. There should be no contact with Ms. Smith. And this will run concurrent with your Harris County case. And counsel, I've given you a couple of numbers. If you call any of those numbers before you leave, they'll be able to give you his cause number and how much time he served. I'm going to request a therapeutic community. I cannot force them to place you in the therapeutic community. That will be completely up to them. But if you don't ask for it, you definitely will not receive it. Do you understand? Did you review the document entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it? Because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waive your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Because this is a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question of what that is, you'll need to speak to an attorney. Do you understand? We can go off the record. From here on out, let me just tell you, if, depending on the level of felony, if there's another felony that's committed by you and it's proven to be proven beyond a reasonable doubt, your minimum is 25 years at the prison. And from here on out, everything that you're considering on doing, you need to ask yourself, if it's something that you should not be doing, how much time am I looking at? And I guarantee you, nobody in here would think that $2.50 is worth a year of your life. You understand? All right, good luck to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.